Guys, Joan, I'm here with Mark, Director of
Hi.
Business Development here at Little Prince, and we're here to talk about BioTherm today. We retrofitted this greenhouse last year using technology from them.
Yeah, so BioTherm is a company that makes heating technology like warm floors and a few other things, but we're using them for warm floors. So we retrofitted this 5-bay gutter connect greenhouse. So it's 150 by 200 feet with warm floors. And there's a huge advantage to heating your floor. We're growing houseplants in this house, and so they love to have their feet warm. And we back up the bottom heat with high efficiency unit heaters also, but they don't run very often because the floor is warm enough to maintain the temperature in here.
So as you can see, you can stand on these floors, you can walk on them. And what's heating these floors, Mark?
So in this entire range, there's approximately 25 miles of microtubing that circulates hot water under the floor.
Wow.
So let's walk over here, and I'll show you the boiler first. And so Clark, if you want to pan around.
And before we had this floor in here, we were using this mainly as a plug house and propagation, and it was just gravel.
And it wasn't even propagation because we just didn't have a way of efficiently heating the plug trays. We would propagate in other greenhouses and then bring them here to hold until we transplanted them.
Right.
So this is a 2.4 million therm condensing boiler. So it's very high efficiency. It has a convenient touch screen so that I can look at it and find out exactly what it's doing at any given time. Right now, the ignition status is idle, so it means that the floor, so there's no call for heat right now. So the floor is warm everywhere, but in fact, I hear it starting to run now, so it probably just got a call for heat.
And is it water running through these tubes?
So yeah, so we're circulating hot water, and so water leaves the boiler through this big 3-inch copper tube.
Okay.
Goes through this hydro separator. This is the system pump that pumps water out into the system. So
so all these tubes are run above our heads.
Yeah. So we ran everything overhead here. It was a lot easier to install it overhead. I've installed some of these floors with underground piping, and that just presents a bunch of other challenges.
Right, because they're hidden. You can see exactly what you're dealing with right now.
Right. You don't have to dig trenches, and
Right.
so this system has these 3-inch main lines which go down to the middle of the greenhouse. Clark, if you come out here, you can we'll follow these lines down.
So what happens if you get a hole in one of the little tubes?
So if you get a hole in any of the tubes, the system is designed to autofill, so it can keep up with a little hole.
Awesome.
But I have somebody run through this house pretty much every day and just make sure that the system is fully pressurized. There are no leaks. It takes 5 minutes, but it's worth.
Yeah, and we have some protection here because if you look closely.
So these tubes end right here. We'll show you the header that they connect to, but these are the micro tubes down here. They're making their loop back because water goes down. Hot water flows down through the beds and then flows back and back to the boiler. It just makes this big loop.
Awesome.
We put this on so that we've got a few bad drivers around here. and so we put these so that they can't really drive a vehicle on top of them.
Right. Smart.
So the 3-inch line it stops right here and splits. So essentially a big line feeds all the water it needs to all of the progressively smaller lines. And let's walk down this way, Clark.
Lots of fun plugs right here. Baby plants. Super happy.
So this is one of 4 zone valves. So that orange valve up there controls all the water flowing into this whole bay. And we can isolate every bed by just turning these valves off. So if we have a leak on one bed, we can shut this off and that one off, and it completely isolates that bed if there's a leak.
That's so handy.
Yeah. So, and Clark, come up here and just, you can see so these are the supply and return lines. So those tubes just plug into these headers, which BioTherm pre-makes for you. And the other thing so I've installed BioTherm systems actually for probably 15 or 20 years. One big advance that they've made over the last few years is they have this, it's called roll and grow, I think, where all of this tubing comes to you in it's sewn into big rolls of
like
weed
a mat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no longer any rolling out of individual lines, and it all rolls out in a big mat as wide as 10 feet.
Wow,
and all you have to do,
much time.
all you have to do is plug the ends into
Yeah.
it on both the supply and the return, and then connect the ends with a little horseshoe thing that they have that loops the water back, and you're done. We put some ground cloth staples in it to hold it flat, but it is so fast and easy. It probably took us, so this is 150 by 200 feet. It took myself and 2 other guys about a week to lay out all the tubing in here.
It's not just this area we've shown you. There's a whole area over here.
Yeah. Putting the big 3-inch main lines in took way longer than it did to roll out all the tubing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to use Schedule 80 PVC pipe. We were fortunate. We have a scissor lift that we installed all this with, but it took me and one other guy about 2 weeks to put all the main lines in. So, yeah, and BioTherm was super helpful all the way. I've mentioned before, we did a video for Advancing Alternatives and one for GK Machine. No one is asking us to make these videos, and I hope they don't hate the fact that we are.
Yeah, we're just super happy with this product, you guys. We've had this greenhouse running like this for over a year, or has it been 2 years now?
It's been almost a year and a half.
And we are so happy we've totally transformed what we're growing in this house and our capabilities in this house.
Yeah.
So we're super happy with this product.
Yeah, and while we walk back to another section, Clark, pan around and show them some of the cool houseplants that we're growing in here. We've got Calathea Orbifolia there. We really think there's going to be a huge demand for Streptocarpus coming up, and other gesneriids as well. So we've got a bunch of Streptocarpus. Yeah, go onto our website and look at our current availability. You can see some of the awesome things that we grow. Yeah. We also put our hoses in here. We've built these retractable hose lines to water with, which we showed you in another video as well.
Right. So awesome. You just grab the end of the hose and you can just run it on a track the whole way down. So there's not hoses on the floor to trip over. And you guys, we water almost everything by hand in this nursery. So we have better control.
Yeah. So this was actually the 4th BioTherm project we've done here. We're finishing up a 5th one right now with a new boiler in another greenhouse. It was actually the greenhouse that we did the Advancing Alternatives video and the one for GK Machine.
And we built that greenhouse from scratch. This one we retrofitted.
Yes, we built it from scratch. It's a separate, a bit smaller boiler, but everything has worked perfectly. I just can't say enough about the the technology and how easy it's been to work with them.
Yeah.
So Mike Moko is the main guy I've worked with who's designed the systems. Les Grafton is their sales rep that worked with us. Oftentimes when I call on the phone, I talk to Haley Reardon. She's always super helpful. So, you know, they're based down in Petaluma, California. So I can't say enough about how much we appreciate BioTherm for all they do.
Yeah, thank you, BioTherm. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video we made.